paper is damp before I touch it. Thumbprints blacken the edge, the ink still tacky where the red block letters strike through my name. Wind snatches grit into my teeth. I read the stamp once. I read it again as the siren rattles the bolt heads over our heads. Expendable. It is so large my breath hits the curve of my rebreather and comes back thin, like I am already somewhere smaller. In the next minutes, the order crawls down the trench, picking men like a cold hand. Boots scuff past, and the sky smudges to soot and the paper stays in my glove. I fold it once to fit my pocket and fail. It will not fold where the ink is heavy, it bows instead like a plate. I slide it under my chest plate between the webbing and the skin-warm fabric, and the corner worries the place my collar always rubs raw. It will be there. That is the thought that steadies my hands enough to seat a fresh pack. The lasgun's charged light gives me the same little green wink it always gives, polite and incurious. I check the strap on my left greave and it sticks because the buckle has taken rust, and I use spit to loosen it. Barto pokes his head out of the shoulder hole and asks if mine said it too. He is grinning like he is talking about weather. I nod. He nods. His grin dies like a light switched off. He licks the same thumb 3 times before finding enough spit to clear his sightlins. Our sergeant paces the duckboard once, twice, id stepping over a tangle of someone else's pack straps without looking down. He does not have a paper in his hand. He keeps touching the small strip of blue cloth on his arm like it is a charm. He does not meet our eyes. His mouth moves anyway, words hammered flat by repetition. Check packs, check seals, check safeties, no trophies, no loose gear, no questions, no backtalk. He does not say what we all feel clawing at the backs of our tongues. He taps his Vox bead and it crackles and spits like cooking fat. We pass a light down the line and it glows too bright. Low smoke catches in the bottom of my helmet and ghosts my vision. The medici shuffles along the trench with a bag no bigger than a mess tin, nodding to himself like he knows a joke we do not. He does not check my wrist. He looks at my paper by looking at where it is under my plate, and his face empties, and he moves on. The trench smells of metal and old rain and the fat stink of the burner that never quite goes out. Above, beyond the boards and sand-filled mesh, the city sits in layers. Broken teeth of habs, bent rail, a mast of something holy snapped, and bleeding flags in slow rags. Far ahead, a sound folds the ground like linen, and the air comes up in a wave of dust. Someone down the line laughs at nothing. Orders come in like frost. They touch everything and make it brittle. We are to move in pairs at the double to the final traverse. We are to wait for the whistle. We are to keep our heads down. We are to shout our number before we go over. We are to remember our number. We are to die in the right place. Between the words, I look at my hands. They are not the hands that dug the latrines 3 nights ago. They are not the hands that touched a tin mug and believed the warmth belonged to me. And they are meat wrapped in thin glove fabric that keeps snagging on the tooth of a broken rivet. I peel the glove back and there are grooves in my skin from the knurls on the grip. I lick a smear of oil that will not wipe clean. The taste is sweet and wrong. We practice standing. We practice fixing our bayonets. I feel the socket engage with a little click and the steel looks longer than it is because of the light. Barto's hands shake only when he sets the blade and then they smooth out. He memorizes the motion. He hums as if that makes it go in right. The siren stops. For a moment, the trench is all breath. Then the Vox thread unwinds and leaves words pinned at intervals like laundry. Red assets forward, red mark wave 1, red mark expendables, confirm receipt. We do not have to confirm receipt. The paper is receipt. It scratches my throat where it sits below the plate. I grind my shoulder into the plank until the splinter finds skin. There, and now I have a point to look at. We move. The traverse is a cut in the earth that shudders with each footfall. The men in front of me make the same shape as I do, and that is a comfort. No one knows how to be a different shape here. I put my boot where a boot just was. The city leans closer. The grit becomes bigger. The sky becomes narrower. Sweat fogs my mask. The air has a taste that is pink and metallic, like chewing a coin. At the bend, a servitor waits under a tarp printed with flayed diamond shapes. Its mouth is full of tubes. A little printer ticks and spits chits that curl like dead leaves. One is for me. The arm lowers, blind hand open to take something in trade. Some small part of dignity, maybe I place nothing in it. The chit is the same as the other paper, except this one has a hole punched in it like a spent casing between the letters. It reads the same. It rides the belly of my plate with my breath moving under it, and everyone who passes gets one. The printer ticks. The printer does not look at us. At the top step of the traverse, the sky is so loud it presses through the crown of my head and down my spine. The city is no longer anything that ever held people. It is shapes made by impact and weight. The whistle cuts the last tethers. The sergeant does not look back. He goes over. We go after. The ground beyond the trench is ridges and bowls like a field of scars. My boots do not touch anything level for 4 strides. By the 5th stride, I have already learned that to hesitate is to catch a lip and fall. Falling is lingering, and lingering is something else's name for me in a different mouth. The air ahead shivers in long stacked panes, and something bright skips across them like a stone across water. I do not look at it because looking makes heat stuck in the eyes that will not go out. I swing my gun to where the sergeant points, and the trigger brushes the fat of my finger like an animal testing my skin with its nose. Something opens its mouth in the wreckage ahead and swallows sound. My ribs agree with it. We run into the place where the mouth was because there is a gap there for a moment, and then there is not. We run past bodies that have the same face painted in the same pattern as mine, and their eyes are full of gray flake. I do not look for mine among them. I am not there yet. A voice like gravel on iron drags across the Vox. Red assets hold at ruin crest. Red assets verify marker lights. Red assets acknowledge friendly fire clearance. There is a pause like a breath before a blow. We crest a low roll of soil and broken rebar and see the ruin ahead. 2 leaning half-walls slung together by iron like a shoulder with a severed arm. The marker lights are not lights. They are rags caught on wire painted smear bright, and we stand where the gravel voice wanted us. The shock comes not as pain but as procedure. Our sergeant raises his hand with 2 fingers crooked and taps his arm strip. The strip flares a dull red no one will mistake for anything friendly. He does not have another color. He turns his head enough that we can see his mouth move around orders without sound. He is telling us to get small. He is telling us to show ourselves. Behind us, our own guns elevate. I hear the groan of weight and the ratcheting measure of range. A tank coughs a question. The answer comes, and the first shell goes past so close it breaks the taste in my mouth in half. We are part of the angle now. We are the angle. The first splash drops short and throws roof tiles into my back like dogs, quick and mean. The second climbs over us and smashes the ruin into 2 ruins. It opens a pocket of stale air that smells like old leather and buried food. Men inside it open too, as I press my nose to my mask until I smell rubber. We are to hold until the 3rd shell. The 3rd shell is the one that takes the thing that was sniping us, or the nest that will spit us back, or the part of our courage that thinks it can choose. We hold. We are small. The ground chews us. Bartow is next to me, close enough that his voice shares my mouth. He is saying to me a word that could be a prayer or his mother or a number. I say it back. He nods like I have done him a kindness. His eyes are too big, but he keeps them open. We both fire at where we have been told to fire, and the beams are thin as wires and leave no mark I can see. The third shell lands where my future might have been if I had tried to climb into the ruin. The ruin hops and then remembers it is rubble and lies down properly. After, there is a space that was not there, a thinness in the world, a vertigo. The whistle blows again, but it is not for us, it is for the waves behind us. You who are green strips on their arms, who will not be fired through, who come up and over with their guns high and their eyes set as if already marching in a parade. We are to keep firing. We are to keep our heads low. We are to stay. A shape moves where there should be no shape and throws a grenade you could mistake for a small angel with metal wings. It lands between us, patting dust. I throw my elbow over it like I am covering a candle against wind. It goes off like a fist in a wardrobe, and I do not hear it. I only know that Barto leaves bits of himself on my sleeve and the paper under my plate pops and shifts like a bird trapped in a shirt. We keep firing. I pull Barto by his webbing until he is behind a tire half melted into pitch. His belly is soft where it should not be, and my hand goes in more than I expect. He apologizes, blood covers the red block on my chest and makes it shine. I press my palm there like that matters. He looks at my visor like it is glass he could look through if he tries harder. I tell him to breathe. His chest obeys until it forgets how. A tank behind us drags its tracks forward, cutting the ridge into slices, and its turret cuts the sky into a smooth curve. It idles past as if we are a bump to ease over. Heat off its flank pushes the sweat flat on my neck. I can see the gunners inside through the slats, only shapes, heads bent, and their world is small too. Rifle shots pick the edges off the tire. I put my barrel in a crack and empty the pack into where I imagine the shapes must be. I do not hate them. I cannot hold that many things at once. I swap packs by feel and my fingers feel thick as sausages. When I bring the rifle back up, a line of light carves across my glove and the smell of my own skin burning is a sweet smell I think I might have known as a child. I bite the inside of my cheek hard enough to change flavor. Someone shouts my number. I shout it back. Our sergeant makes a shape with his hand that means forward, and our forward is the place between two ruined cars where wind moves in circles and pushes dust up like breath. I go there on my knees, ribs hitting things that are not broken enough to be comfortable. The paper under my plate flutters with each crawl. It is a small bird. It is a moth trapped against a window. I press my chest harder into the ground to still it, and it stills. My heart remembers itself. An enemy shows his face, and I shoot his helmet off. He falls like his strings were cut. It is surprising each time how final it is. Another runs across the gap like a runner training, arms and knees neat, and three of us stitch his middle bright. He folds as if choosing to sit. Even there is no hate large enough to fill this space. There is only motion and then no motion. We hold this low place long enough for the green-stripped waves to flood past on either side. Our tank finds better ground and spits flame where the nest used to be. The sound drowns the thoughts like a boot in a bucket. I breathe smoke water. My tongue's back finds ash. Barto is gone. He weighed something, now he is cloth. I pick up his tags, but there is no cord left and they fall twice. I pocket them with the chit and the edges bite each other. Someone screams without words for a very, very long time and then forgets to. The day tips. We are still in it like ants when you lift a rock and hold it in your hand. We are not relieved. The word is not said. The tanks go on. The green strips go with them. We stay to make sure what we struck stays struck. We stay because the paper says we will. A sniper takes the sergeant behind the ear and he drops with no more sound than if he had fallen asleep. No one takes his strip. We already have ours. Ours fold without lines between them. The sun is a pale scab behind smoke. Shadows are soft. I drink from my tube and the water is warm and tastes of rubber and the coin taste it cannot wash away. I piss without standing. I count my charges and see I have more than I thought, and then that feels like a trick. The medici comes as far as the traverse and looks out with his bag in his arms like a child. He does not wave. He speaks to his bead and his head tilts to listen to the thing that answers. And when it answers, he turns away. He is careful how he walks. He does not look down too much. A commissar in a clean coat walks where he has to. He does not look at us at all because if he does, we might still be people. Day wants to end, but the city has forgotten how to let it. He flares smear color where the sun does not reach. The ruins' edges soften and the blown church spire sits like a finger in a mouth, telling us to be quiet. I can feel my blood drying in my glove and the edges of the paper against me have swollen with sweat. The hole punch in the chit has left a round stamped into my skin, red on red, as if I was pressed to it long enough to take its shape. We keep watch. We take turns. I pretend to sleep and count my breaths. When I open my eyes, I check the same 3 points in the broken wall and the same loose curtain of wire that trembles when the wind is not blowing. I do not blink for stretches, and when I do, the whole world moves a fraction and terrifies me for no reason but the change. The crisis is loud and close and brief. Figures boil from a split in the ground that was nothing a breath before. Their mouths are open and their eyes are chalk bright. One trips over the bolt arm of a dead man and the others run over him and he does not move again. They are very fast for 10 strides and then very slow as the first of them meets the place we layered the air with light and sound all day. They drop their guns when the shock hits wrists. The third lands close enough I can see the chip missing from his front tooth. He looks surprised. My rifle runs dry and I punch with the butt and the feeling of skull is a precise thing. A weight transferred like passing a cup. He slides down the barrel and his mouth holds my bayonet's width. I feel the skin catch and give. I have to put a foot on him to pull my blade free and my heel slips and for a second I am dancing with him like a fool. We are living at the end of something I cannot see. The breach closes. The screams die small. Smoke traps the sound like wool. My ears ring and make their own wind. I wipe the blade on my sleeve and just spread it. I sit down by accident and then decide to stay there. The tanks have stopped somewhere I cannot see. The green strips make new shapes further on. The city lets us breathe without coughing for half a minute. The medici does not come. The commissar does not come. The servitor hides from rain that does not fall. Above, the long guns sound less like hammers and more like doors closing in a long house. The conclusion comes on the same day with the same thin light and the same sour taste. There is no trumpet. We do not move to better earth. The better earth moves over us, dust settling grain by grain until our gear wears a color the city approves of. I work at the blood around my glove slits with the corner of the paper. It is tough as boiled cloth now. The ink has run where sweat touched it. Expendable feathers to XPA and Endable, and then the letters bleed together to make a brick of color that will not wash. I tear the chit's bottom strip and tuck it under the strap of my pauldron to keep it off the place where the skin is raw. It flaps in a wind I cannot feel on my face. My mouth tastes copper and soot and something sweet and stale. I chew a ration button that tastes of dust no matter the label stamped into the can. It takes the grind out of my molars. The tags in my pocket hit the paper each time I shift and whisper like coins. We wait all afternoon in the ruin we made smaller. We count shadows that might be men and are not. We lift our heads when we hear the droning of their skeeters and duck when the red flashes rake the road. We throw one grenade because we cannot stand having it and not using it. It rolls into a rusted trough and blossoms with a sound like a hard breath. Nothing changes. We look at each other like we are asking permission. but there is no one to give it. The tank beyond the crest starts once and then dies, and I do not know if that means night or hunger. When it finally comes, relief is not a procession, but a pair of shapes moving crouched from pit to pit, smelling of oil and soap, wearing green strips that could be mold. They touch our shoulders, and that is the sign. We do not stand at once. We pry ourselves up like old nails, one by one, wary of breaking. I help lift what is left of Barto into a sack with his name scrawled. The sack is lighter than friendship should be. The man with the green strip writes something on a slate with a stylus that squeaks. He does not look at my face. He puts his hand out for my chit, and I give it. He does not take it. His hand keeps hanging there as if waiting for me to know the correct thing to give him. I do not. He taps my chest where the ink has bled and says, voice rubbed raw by wind and dust, "You that I am to keep it." We file back the way we came, but lower. The traverse boards are slick, and our boots make a slow, steady symbol of wood and mud. The servitor's printer still ticks, ejecting curls that drift and pile around its ankles like shavings. The medici sits on his box, counting vials and making neat stacks of clean gauze. He looks up when we pass and then down again, and I do not hate him, and he does not have enough cord for every neck. Back in the trench, the burner still smokes and the fat stink is home. Someone has left a cup on a post, and it holds rain that never fell. I sit on my pack and ease my shoulder against a post worn smooth by men like me. My rifle rests across my knees, and my hands know it better than anything else I have. I reach under my chest plate and pull out the paper with both hands, and the corners have softened and the stamp has eaten through the fibers until light shows around the letters. When I press my thumb to it, ink shines in the groove like a small cut. I do not fold it. I do not know where to put it. I lay it on my thigh and watch a single bead of sweat fall from my chin and darken the D.